You care about America as well as anybody does.
I
Parking is as American as anything.
It's probably the most
It's one of the most
American.
More American than apple pie.
It might actually be.
It's where we park all those Chevrolets. We park them in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
Good night.
We're gonna delay. All right, let's please stand for this pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. This is a meeting of, although it looks like your village board, it's actually a meeting of the Nyack Parking Authority, and we're going to be going over the 26-27 budget and talking about some other issues relating to the budget. Andy's going to take us through it. Then at 7 o'clock, in about an hour, we will start our village board meeting where we will all get up and then sit back down in the same chair as we are now. But we will put on a new hat. So Andy, what do we got going on with the budget, with the parking authority budget?
Well, just to sort of set the agenda for the next little while, we've got Kyle here, who's our treasurer, and we've got Matt, who is our code enforcement agent extraordinaire. And Kyle's gonna lead us through the budget. I've got a number of sort of policy related things I raised in this memo here, which I want to go through with you. Related to I'm sure think a little more deeply about the parking system and what changes that I might want to make. I know Matt's got some ideas and comments about that as well. But why don't we start with the budget, because the village board needs to adopt a parking authority budget. And the main thing with the budget was that we came out in a bit of a deficit when we did our first analysis. We did knock out a request for a replacement transit van, which saved about $40,000. And then we took a hard look at the other expenses. And we found that by shopping around, we are going to save some money on credit card processing fees, which come to typically around 100, what was it?
145.
145 a year or so. We haven't actually clinched that deal yet because the deal that I had, the guy started backing out of it and asking for more data and so on. But we're confident we're going to at least cut it in half, down to 75,000, and that pretty much wipes out the deficit for the coming year that we were trying to solve for. But I want to ask Kyle to talk a little bit more about, just in more detail about how the budget looks, and then the members can ask questions about specific lines, and Kyle's here to answer those. So.
The two things that Andy said are the only things I've changed on this budget since the last time we looked at it.
Can you come up and use the microphone,
Yeah, of course.
or sit down and use the microphone?
That's why I'll stand up here. The last time you guys saw this budget, there had the.
That's on.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Why is this?
There you go.
The last time you saw the budget, it was at a deficit of around 95,000. And the only two things that have changed is what Andy talked about. We removed the car. And we have a credit card deal, which we're hoping will end up coming in less than 75,000, which is, you didn't see that, that's on line 29 credit card fees. We think if we get this deal, it's gonna be closer to 55,000. But those are the only two things that changed. The real big thing on this parking budget here is that that this year we were able to make some expenses cheaper in order to make it balance. But going into the future, expenses will continue to go up. And you can see the revenue has been pretty plateaued for the last few years. It's been pretty stagnant. So Andy's going to talk a lot in his memos here about different ways to improve parking revenue.
Thanks, Kyle. Do you guys have questions about specific lines in the budget you want to know more about?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I see the Spear Street lot is down. Is that because we're changing the
Correct. I reduced
parking fee?
I reduced that one because you loved the amount of the cost.
$20.
Correct.
$20 okay. With regard to again, the parking app and the revenue, credit card fees and all of that. What is the likelihood that we're gonna be getting that deal with this new credit card company?
I think I can describe to you exactly the status, which is we have price offers from two companies, both of which reduce it substantially.
Right.
Looking to see which one's the better deal.
Okay.
And but until it's signed, I never want to count my chickens.
Right. So this 75,000 estimate is the worst of the two deals right now. So we're hoping the other one ends up being better.
Right, and the village lease, what's the current balance, on the balance sheet, how much does the parking authority still owe the village?
How much they're in debt? It's between 700 to 750,000.
700 to 750.
Yeah.
Okay, and you take 300,000 every year?
Correct. At the end of every year, 300,000.
Okay, so we're talking about another
On
two,
top.
another 2-3 years of,
The 700,000 is on top of the 300,000.
on top of it.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, the 300 is the annual lease payment.
Right.
That's counted on in the budget, and
Okay,
then payments on the debt are not actually in the budget. But they're made when the budget runs in the black and there's extra money.
I see, so it's not allocated in.
Right.
Correct.
Only Kyle can explain why that predictable number
Correct.
is not in there.
Yeah, why is it not in there?
Oh. In the simplest terms on a budget, it's just your revenues, expenses. Your debt is a balance sheet item, so it doesn't show on this type of document.
Right,
But if you knew someone was gonna pay something back, you can include it within a budget. It's never been done in the past, cause we never known, guaranteed how much revenue someone's gonna make. But if we can if we can have more ways to generate revenue here in parking, in future, we could include that something in the budget.
And that debt always gets paid down when the budget parking authority has a surplus, right?
Right, if they ever,
Yeah, and since we didn't have a surplus this year, nothing went into paying that debt.
correct, and so at the highest peak, I believe it was around 1.5 million, and it's down to about in the 700 range now.
Which is great progress.
Yeah.
Our ratings agencies are super happy with that.
yeah, year to date, it shows a profit
Yes, yes, but that also was before the 300,000 was moved.
before the 300,000 was taken, okay,
Correct, correct.
gotcha.
Yeah, on my projection, they are gonna make a profit, but it will be less than 50,000. Okay.
Okay.
So nothing, you can see in the past years, had some really high years, so it's not as significant as it used to be.
I will also make the point, and it's more a principle than it is an actual, it's only a couple $1,000s. But if you go back to the line item, the row 9 on the Spear Street, it actually theoretically, it should be the same number. Because the whole point of reducing the fee for the decal was not to be like, hey, let's make it cheaper to park in the Spear Street lot. It was to get more people to actually park in the Spear Street lot, which means we should sell more placards than we have.
Especially since also Key Bank closed their lot, it kind of pushes some people right
Yeah.
now. That lot is getting more full.
So, yeah, I was just gonna ask, so have we seen that?
Increase the people buying.
I mean, we should get more people buying. I mean, what's $20 a month now?
Right,
Yeah, for an offense, for a spot you can use all the time.
yeah, it's a good deal.
It's a good deal. I mean, it's one ticket.
Why did the parking app fees go up?
Which line are you talking about here?
Line 30.
So that is, the convenience fee, everyone pays 40 cents on their Park Mobile app, so depending on how much it's just tied with our revenue, more people use the app, the higher the fee.
And,
That's paid by the customer.
oh, no, I got
Yeah.
that. Only because I heard one complaint, but it's one person on Facebook, so take it for what that means.
Just
Have we, I think I thought I was just one, maybe, perhaps I'm wrong. Have we shopped around to see, like, I know that we used to use Flowboat at one point, I know a lot of people use Park Mobile, other places use different apps, have we shopped around, is Park Mobile still the cheapest app, or are there ones that might be cheaper?
I really couldn't tell you,
Okay.
because we haven't shopped from Park Mobile. Park Mobile bought Flowbird,
That's right, okay,
so the beauty meters are now at least owned by Park Mobile. So they're kind of merging their operations a little bit there.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, at some point we could shop that around. I have been asking Park Mobile what they're doing with the communities, for example. I see some of them are higher, some of them are lower.
Yeah.
It depends on the volume.
Some municipalities might be part of it. We don't know. what they're-
right, yeah.
But I will say, I remember seeing something in the contract that I thought was a little hunky about the fact that they raised the transaction fee on us unilaterally without our permission at some point 3-4 years ago. And I don't know if they had the contractual right to do that. That's something that Dennis could talk to and speak to. But I do think it's the right app to use because I do see it more and more.
I see it a lot, yeah, I see it in other municipalities too,
It's nice to have one app and be able to park in a lot of different places.
right, and like I use the same Park Mobile app, like if I'm parking in Dobbs Ferry or something, so I do
Right.
recognize it. It's just, like I said,
It's
I wanted to
expensive.
make sure that all concerns are being
Yeah, no,
addressed.
it's something that's we should always shop around
Yeah,
periodically.
right,
You kind of weigh that against the disruption associated with the
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
And with these kind of.
I let them know we're shopping around.
What's that?
Let them know we're shopping. around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once we get everything settled with the credit card fees, I feel like, because I did see it was also, I think you answered in that same complaint of threads, or I don't know, whatever. So I do think that we are doing something. It's just that was a thought that occurred. Like, when was the last time we shopped around?
Yeah, no, it's a good question to ask. I mean, we have to ask that question every single time.
People seem to be under the impression that if we did cut the cost, that it would then translate to lower prices for parking.
Yeah, I
It
don't
would
know.
most likely translate to paying off the $750 that we owe.
Yeah,
you know,
no, I don't wanna set expectations. It just, I was like, oh, that is curious. How come, like, when was the last time we shopped around for it? So, yeah. I don't wanna promise anything on the live stream. So, yeah.
Any other questions about budget lines for Kyle?
No.
So Kyle, you're gonna wanna see a resolution on the next meeting adopting this budget, is that it?
I don't know if you guys have done a resolution in the past with the parking. I don't know.
Okay.
Didn't we always do
It's a
it
good practice, I would think.
You can do it.
like with the budget?
No, neither the parking nor the water get adopted specifically as part of your annual budget process. They're sort of parallel processes.
Okay.
So. Yeah, maybe it's not a legal requirement, but
You can do it.
it may show.
It's good to put us on record as to what that we passed the budget, that we approved the budget as it was.
I'll hopefully be putting a resolution together, on other items related to parking in this memo here, which we can talk about a bit. Especially since we have Matt here, who's a resident expert on the parking systems. But I wanted to mention that, just a couple of items in this memo, just to sort of summarize them. Item number 3 makes the simple point that we try to get parking to pay its own way. But there's some costs which are not included in the parking budget, which simply could be in the future. I list those. So just something to think about. Just remember when we sort of make this budget balance, we probably still have a little ways to go if we really want the parking to kind of pay its own way. We're doing well on the debt payment, which makes us look good to our creditors, which is a good thing. Our bond rating is in good shape. The question is going to come up periodically as to when and how to raise the parking meter fee. And I just want to give you a little background on this. I spent a lot of time looking at this, looking at comparable communities, and I didn't end up wanting to recommend to you at this time that we raise the fees, just because we are kind of in the ballpark of nearby places. And it seems like everybody's a little sticky. These other places, they're not raising their parking meter fees much. And so I thought it might be an obvious decision to make, but I think we should consider that further. I am asking our credit card processor if it's possible to push that fee onto users, so I'll let you know about that. That would be a very easy way of raising parking meter fees without actually changing the fee itself. But that just gives you a little information about where we are in terms of cost compared to other places. And there's some variety, but usually they're coming in a little over $1 an hour. Depending on where you are, a little more expensive down in Englewood. A little cheaper than Ethnosity and so on, so. I wanted to say that we never got around to installing the meters on South Franklin, which we were intending to do last year. And Matt and I have been talking about it, and the mini meters cost about $10,000 each. So I'm having a little bit of a sticker shock on that, to be honest. I guess I want to maybe play for a little more time. We're talking about maybe using meter posts with double heads on them instead. Because
How much of that?
they're a lot cheaper, maybe.
The double meter heads can't be more than $150 to $200 per meter head.
Even to install them in the ground?
No, it's probably $40 for the pole, because Jonathan gets 10-foot poles, they cut them down to what we need, and then they install from there. So one 10-foot pole can
So it's $200 a pop.
Yeah, it's labor time and we have a jam-packed schedule. But I'm just a little shy about investing in 2 whole new mini meters for just one long block.
Well, who owns we own the meter meters?
We have to buy them, yeah,
We have to buy it from Park
from
One,
Flowbird,
from Flowbird.
yeah.
And what was the alternative? You said it's.
Just using posts like old style.
I think it's the
Yeah.
best.
Oh, like the court, yeah,
But they don't have to be quarters. You can use you can pay,
yeah, you can use other.
you can pay the app. You can use the app, but
Well,
the,
anybody,
Yeah.
we'll put the signs up for the app, because.
That's what you do on Midland.
yeah, that's all, yeah, it's done on Midland, it's done on.
Both.
Also Broadway,
That's it.
Broadway.
Matt, could you do both coins and
That's
the
not fair.
app?
They only go.
Yeah, you can always use the
Yeah,
app.
if you're going to the hospital and you don't have coins on you, you can download the
Yeah.
app, even if
Yeah,
you're in
you
the
can still
ER,
pay
pay right there.
yeah. I kind of think that's what I do.
The meter, the post meter heads, do they have a credit card slot on them or not?
Well, we've never gone into that avenue of upgrading our timers. Our timers are still like right after we change from the clicker over.
Right.
So these take quarters only, but we can totally install them for nickels, dimes. You can install them for credit cards if you wanted to. There's ways to do that, which I don't know the cost, but to be honest, quarters is the best.
Right.
I just
Yeah.
quarters and use the app. If
Yeah.
not, you can walk a block to get to use the nearest movie meter, but
I would, yeah, and I'd be
people
more,
should be using the app. They should be using it.
yeah, I'd be more concerned if someone put like a card reader over one of those,
Yeah.
cause that would be bad.
I will say, when we're on the topic of these card readers, I was told, unfortunately by our Flowbird guy, that within a year or so, all of our Flowbird meters are gonna need an upgrade, about $2,000 each too, because the credit card companies are moving towards only having a chip and tap versus a magnetic strip. And the regulators who sort of audit the security of those transactions are also getting more and more skeptical about this sort of obsolete technology that we're running. So these things they've run for a long time. I mean, how long have we had those things?
Since 2018, we just got these meters. Before that, we had to pay and display.
Right,
But given that situation, if we had to cut back on muni meters and go more post and app, might be worth considering.
yeah, the meter meter upgrade, he said it'd be about $2,000 each, so.
We have 35.
Yeah,
But we got 35 of them, so we're looking at 70 grand of a electronics kind of hardware upgrade at some point in the next few years.
On the post, the quarter, how many quarters can you put in?
Up to 3-hour max.
3 hour? Okay.
Yeah, the only did 7,500, but on Hudson Avenue, we try to accommodate for the business owners in that area since we don't have a parking lot. So Hudson Avenue next to the post office is 7,550, the same rate as the municipal lots. That way, people who work in that area can park for a while without having to come back and feed every 3 hours.
So just a heads up about that, probably we're gonna see that cost sometime in the next year or so, as far as the upgrades of the muni meters. So I guess we're gonna kind of consider options a little further, meters versus posts on South Franklin. I wanted to mention as well that I've been, and I don't have a determination on this, but when I looked at the data for how Dunkin' Services escalates unpaid fines to higher levels of compliance, they have two ways of doing it. One is they push you through to motor vehicles for a suspension on your registration. So every 2 years, people go to register their car and they could suffer for not being able to register their car. And the other is a booting policy where you boot the car and they have to pay their fees. It doesn't look to me like Dunkin' has been administering those escalations consistently, so I'm querying them on that, and I expect to be able to find out more. But in the meantime, we've been talking a little bit about the booting operation with Matt and with Rosa, of course. And there's new technologies available which can really help with that. Essentially, it's a boot where you don't have to go out and take it off. Like the person with the car that's been booted can pay by phone and just sort of disconnect the thing and drop it like in a Dropbox, and it saves the person coming into the village and yelling at people, and it saves the staff from having to go out and unboot a car. So right now our booting process is there's a fair amount of money on the table from unbooted cars, mostly because it takes staff way outside the metered zone in order to kind of go around looking for them, and it's an inefficient process with handhelds. We don't have an LPR that makes it super fast. And because of the staffing requirement, Matt's explained to me that when they boot a car, they need to have at least 2 people. They need to make sure that they get it on early in the morning and the person can come in and pay their bill sometime in the early afternoon. It's a bit of a process. So, so I'm looking at trying to figure out a way to do that more efficiently. I don't have it both for you right now, but I have some ideas about it. Could I come back to that?
Do we like keep a list of people that have more than X number of fines?
Yes,
So we know-
Duncan keeps that list and I've been looking at it and trying to.
How long is it? How much money are we talking about?
That's a more detailed discussion. That list goes back since Duncan started working with the village, so there's loads of items that are over 10 years old on it, which I wouldn't even really classify as viable payables at this point. But I could give you.
Because those cars, because they're tied to cars and registrations.
Yeah, they could have moved out of state, the car could be junked by now.
The license is no longer valid,
But there is, a flow of these unpaid sort of scofflaw fines, which needs to be captured more effectively, and so I want to ask my ideas around that. I'm trying to.
Do you have their addresses? Are they village residents or they're outside?
It's random, it just depends.
But we have the information, but you're just saying you just don't have a guesstimate as to how much money is involved with sort of the more viable scofflaws, say scofflaws who've been ticketed in the last 2 years.
Name 3 over 1,000.
3 over 1,000?
I can name 3 over 1,000. They're out there. It's just how we operate. Are we allowed to put on a boot after the office closes? If that's so, then does the person wait until the next business day, or is there a way they can get it off in the meantime? On Saturdays, when I start, because my schedule flips with Joe on this Saturday, I know there's going to be scofflaws in the village lot because they know the village hall is closed. So we're not going to boot them when the village hall is closed when they can't pay. Is there a more effective way, I guess I'm bringing up, for them to pay the boot? Because we can find them. It's just, we own about 6 boots. We even own a big boot for the big tires. But we just have to be able to know, if we put on a boot, are we going to be backed up by the office in regards to payment for it?
So there was, just as a courtesy, we don't boot people who can't go and get the boot taken off that day.
We try to give them until at least 3 or 4 o'clock, because we have to call the, our always rule of thumb was you call the tow truck by 4, so that way you give them an hour between 4 and 5. That way, if the village hall closes, you give them every chance to get there. But the last boots we did this past week, because me and Andy have been talking about it, we left the boot on overnight. And we give the person an extra day to pay. And it ended up coming in and paying and making a deal with it. But the point was, it's a gray area with booting, because we've never had a policy where if a boot is on after hours, what do we do?
So I guess we need to figure that out.
Yeah, we got.
Well, the alternative to booting is towing, right?
Correct. I mean, yeah, boot and tow. Scofflaw, you can be boot and tow.
Well, I mean,
So
we don't need to necessarily do both, because once they're towed, they're towed. Do we have to do both?
No, but the booting is giving them a chance. That's saying, hey, look,
Yeah.
this is your line. We caught you. I'm not gonna shout them out because we're online, but there's a person who parks on the northern side of town. They now know that I know that there are boots, they're parking privately, but I was working, Joe was working overnight, and he saw the car when he could have, if he had 2 guys with me, he could have booted it, but they knew that we weren't operating the way we operated.
Your life could be in a CBS show, like a 9 o'clock at night.
I said that.
Nyack traffic. Thursday night, CBS, 9 o'clock, as you're playing cat and mouse with these guys. I mean, my thing is only that we're running a deficit.
Mhm.
The parking authority needs to get paid, and we've got,
We need to do better on
I mean, are we talking about $10,000 of unpaid fines? Or are we talking about $100,000 of unpaid fines?
I'm sorry, Joe, it's way more than 10, but it might not be 100. It's just, I have to run back to see how old some of them are.
He's smiling. What's it? Are we talking mid 5 figures here?
Well, it's about, because like he said, his numbers will have people who have.
Who are way out, forget it,
Yes,
we're never getting.
But we used to boot off of registered owner.
Ah,
Oh.
So if you registered a new car, then we could boot that car because of it. That's why I'm saying it's a gray area of booting, because we don't have a set policy
so we need one.
on what we need to do when we're out there.
I recognize the problem. Here's the reason I like towing more than booting is that it subjects you all to less abuse.
Correct.
Because when you boot, you have to go let it out, and they're screaming at you, they're yelling, they're complaining, the whole bit. You tow them, they go to the tow truck operator, those guys, they could care less. Give them their money, you're not getting the car, that's it, they're up there in a You know, they are used to every day and that's their job. Then they get paid very handsomely for doing that, but then we also get our money, right? We get our full amount.
Well,
Plus the
they don't
tow.
release the car until they pay the fines in full with us.
They gotta pay the fines to us and they have to pay for the tow.
Correct, so every day it's left there, we had this situation a couple years ago, a lady, I'm not gonna say her street, but she was parked, we booted her, the tow truck took her car, she went to the tow company, tried to break her car out,
Oh my
because she
God.
could not pay the fines for us,
Right.
because it was so hot.
I know
And
something.
it was
like
just a
that,
huge problem that went back and forth for a
That
while.
was the tow trucks, the tow company.
Yeah, she tried to go to the tow company, she found out what.
It wasn't us.
taken.
She did.
I had a woman that came to me and asked me where her car was, and her car had been towed 2 years before. It was like 2 or 3 years before, and I paid out of my own pocket to get the VIN number, try to find where it was. It had been sold like a year and a half ago in North Carolina. Like it was gone. It had been repossessed, and they'd held it for long enough that now the fines were worth more than the car, so they're allowed to then seize the car and then sell it at auction, which is what they did. And she still waited 2 more years to come to us to say, "Can I get my car
Where's
back?"
my car?
So
You mean,
So we're gonna stir the pot and sort of make this kind of scofflaw.
yeah, we should get paid. It's not nice. It's not fair to the people that that do the right thing to have somebody let it get away with it. And also we have a parking authority that we need to get the ship ready.
And also too, in general, it would reduce the amount of people coming and screaming and going nuts if there was just like a set process that everyone knows.
Mhm.
Right, I mean, the two things that would reduce the hazard for the customer
Yeah.
service side are you can remove your boot by yourself, just pay by app and you're done. Or your car's just towed, so you go talk to those guys.
yeah, removing the boot by yourself and being a kind, gentle soul and putting it on somebody.
Yeah, I don't.
I just don't see that happen. I just don't see that
If
happen.
there was a way for us to check on our handhelds or whatever that, hey, this person paid their boot, we can remove the boot for them.
Yeah.
At any time, even if it's off hours, hey, you gotta call, you gotta come get this boot off. And it's worth it because the person just paid X amount of thousand
But
dollars.
if somebody taking the boot off by themselves.
They wouldn't be able to because we have our own.
Well, he said there was a way. He says the type of boot that
They
they
do
do.
Yeah, but I say that.
Technology's available, which immobilize the car, but you can use an app to pay it off and then drop it.
Which is nice because it's frictionless for them.
Right, it reduces the amount of run.
But we're not sure we can get the boot back.
Well, I think we just charge them for
Yeah,
the
we
boot.
are, because if they don't bring it back, they have to buy that too, so.
It's like
Put
breaking
a
a
fine on them. Another fine.
I'm gonna come back to you.
What's the simplest?
That's the boot.
To the technology, let's just at least set the process up and then we can explore what technology works better.
Yeah, so we're looking at options right now. I just wanted to get into the topic.
Can we get an accounting of scoff floors going back, I don't know, 5 years? What is owed to the village, so we can get an idea?
Sure.
Even the 10-year ones, he's right. If we can go after, if they license another car, we can go
Yeah,
after
but
that car.
yeah.
And they don't get, we can go after everybody. Let's get the full list. You can obviously leave some identifying information out. We just want to see how many people we're talking about, how much money we're talking about.
Absolutely, I can get that to you.
And let me ask you a question. So you just, when you first started, you had an alternative besides the boot was registration. You know, it's like, and I think that's probably the less manual out of both, because there's nothing worse than going to DMV, spending 5 hours online to realize that you have tickets that are owed and you have to either pay it or you're gonna spend, either way, you're hemmed up. You're gonna have to
Yeah,
pay.
those are basically two mechanisms for forcing people to pay when they don't show up for court and they just won't.
But I'm just trying to think logistically, would that not be the least of the wear and tear on us? And something that, and I don't have, like, you don't have to deal with anybody screaming, you don't have to leave your bed, you don't have to do anything. I can't do anything, because the registration is registration regardless of what car it is.
That's basically what we've been relying on. After Thomas retired, Thomas was the boot guy. He would wrap me up early in the morning, hey, I found one. And we're going to get a boot. That's what Thomas's job. I was maintenance.
Mhm.
Thomas retired. We had to train Joe up. Joe was tickets. Now Joe holds down a section. We trained Dudley up. Dudley's tickets. He's holding down a section. This is the first time, I'm sorry, I'm able to address you.
Go ahead.
But this is the first time that we've been able to delineate work within parking in regards to metering, because you've seen me with the coin card. It's on, you can go on Google Earth, you can see me with the coin card. I've been from Midland to every meter in town. I can tell you how many numbers of meters we have and which ones are popular. But what I'm saying is now I'm having to do what Thomas was doing.
Got it.
So I'm absorbing a new role and I'm trying to show them how to do maintenance. We had to get a service tech for Flowbird to fix the marina meter today. You know, it's little things like that that we're working with. But since Andy brought up the topic of booting, I was like, okay, I know how to boot. And there's certain ways you gotta boot so you don't hurt the person's car.
Right.
But like I was trained on that specifically by Thomas, but he was our boot guy. And when he retired, it was like there was a void from that. So I think when you ask about the registration, we kind of, you want to look at the numbers from just us collecting from registration. That's kind of what we've been getting up until the past 2 months, because that's when Andy said, hey, can we pick up booting? I was like, okay, I got you.
So if I'm hearing you correct, that's more of a better effective way anyway.
Yeah, the registration, but you can know the numbers of the registrations of what you've been getting, because I wasn't booting December,
Mhm.
November, October. I did one in September.
Mhm.
Also, you gotta know your residents. You know, you boot certain people. There's certain people out here that, oh, let's keep it anonymous, you know? So it's, you gotta work with the community.
No, I get what you're saying, but it doesn't become an issue for here, because you're up in DMV, right? So you're all that yelling and screaming, we all know what DMV looks like.
Yeah.
It's like that face, like, I don't
You
go
gotta make
there.
appointments and everything.
Yeah, so I
It's
think that might
a
be.
little different, it's a little lower, we still get tangled up on the suspension stuff because people come in and they say, you know, they're having communications problems with motor vehicles and Rosa tries to sort it out for them, it kind of goes back and forth, it definitely still kind of bounces back onto village staff. Because the effort to get your suspension registration resolved is not always simple.
Mhm.
And they need documentation and things like that, so in both cases, you know.
I'm just
we're
looking
in
at the
money.
wear and tear of what he's explaining
Yeah,
versus, like, just say we have some, just say, I mean, we know Nyack, you might not be the village folks that were ticketing for whatever reason, it could be people that live outside. Once they go to their state's DMV, that's on them to do, not.
yeah, it's important, it's in the weeds,
Mhm.
but we don't have reciprocity with all states.
Okay.
I
I
can't even
think
go to
it's,
South Nyack. If I go to South Nyack, I can go a bunch of.
you're not even allowed to boot outside the village, but as far as the motor vehicle suspension, it's pretty much just within New York.
Okay,
So
All right.
If you get it, if you're in Jersey or whatever, you're never gonna get escalated.
got it, okay, good to know.
So,
And to Matt's point, out of the village could very well mean like South Nyack, Upper Nyack, Lower
Right.
Nyack. Not like that far.
when I asked Matt to amp up the booting, first person who got booted was a friend of mine.
I think we all have Nyack parking authority stories here. We don't need to shout them out.
There's nobody from the board on that list, is there? Is that?
Oh,
that'd be a compliment.
sure.
Nope, not that I saw.
All right, good. Checking on, how about anybody's wife on the board list? I should check that too before I start setting some harsh and draconian rules in place.
Okay, some other items too.
Yeah, I just wanna, I think one of the things that we could do is we could set up I know we've done some of this before. Some sort of amnesty program, you come, you pay, we waive all the fines, you just gotta pay the fees. But you have like a month to do that, and if you don't, then we just get the tow trucks. Then next time we see you get towed. And so that here's the thing, I don't like the boots, you know why I don't like the boots? It creates the possibility of a non-zero chance of there being a physical altercation between some frustrated person and one of our employees. And I have absolutely zero reason to allow for that non-zero contingency when I can push that off to a tow truck company whose expertise is being impervious to people screaming at them. And let them deal with that. We still get paid because they won't release the car until we get paid. That's fine. I would rather do that than subject them to the kind of nonsense that comes up with someone. And I'd be more than happy to offer an amnesty for people that come clean, you won't get towed. But if you don't pay, as of September 1, we're gonna start towing cars that have scofflaw, that have over X amount of
Is
fines.
there like a major cost difference between booting and towing, or it's pretty nominal?
Yeah, because when you're paying for towing and storage of your car, it costs you a lot more than just paying to get the boot removed.
But it doesn't cost the village, it costs the person who.
Right, it's all.
It's all the same to us.
That's.
Actually, it probably costs us more to boot, because we have, employee time. because
Yeah, that's more what I was.
We have to use our boots. We've done an amnesty on something in the past.
Yeah, there was one a while ago on the
Well,
parking. So.
I would say for parking, I'm very comfortable providing some amnesty for.
Yeah.
It's just.
We just
The
wait.
reality is that the judge is providing amnesty pretty regularly
Yes,
in terms of making deals.
I've been a recipient.
Yeah, but if we, it depends upon how much our amnesty is owed. Let's say, for example, I'll just throw it out there, let's say we're owed $50,000. It might be worthwhile to offer a limited amnesty to get some of that money in, and then we go after, as Bill says. Yeah, I'm off for an amnesty, a limited time amnesty, 1 month. Well publicized.
Yeah, we're trying to do that now too.
Right,
We've
yeah.
moved people and I know through the courts and Rosa, or that they've worked with them on saying, okay, you pay this much, then you go to court on the next parking court date. And then if you don't go to court, obviously you're back on the boot list, but we internally, we've done.
I'm trying to work it out.
Yeah.
That's another reason.
That works together.
Just tow them. Just tow them, because then we don't deal with any of that now. You don't take up judge time. There's been a line out the door the last couple of weeks for people coming here for traffic stuff, And it's not because everything, I don't know why it is, because we're not giving, the numbers aren't like tremendously higher for the number of tickets being given out. So I don't know why there's all of a sudden, I'm seeing, lines out to Broadway. On what day is it? Tuesdays or Thursdays?
Oh, just Thursdays or
Thursdays.
Thursday morning?
And so all right, well, we've talked enough about it, but I think I like towing just because it's just subcontracting out the responsibility to enforce, but we still get paid the same amount. It doesn't cost us anything.
And I mean, honestly, I agree with the safety of the staff. Matt, you've definitely been on the short end of just like ridiculousness and.
I'm worried about Matt killing someone.
Yeah,
So I'm not worried about Matt. I'm worried about Matt beating the hell out of some chump.
Well, no, in fairness and on the record, Matt has always acquitted himself very well with conflicting with people who are not, who have been a little testy.
Like many people,
but-
with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, no,
That
I
is-
can
that is
get
that.
down with it. Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know, pay your tickets, people, like,
Pay your
and treat the
tickets.
staff with respect. I know a lot of people complain about parking, but like, that's the one thing, you guys do a job and
Black and
you
white.
need to be, yeah.
There you go.
Right, we have two more items I just wanted you guys to
Mhm.
talk about, which are more decision points than policy discussions. One has to do with the free 15. And there's two kinds of free 15, which I didn't realize before. One is where you can get 15 minutes for free from a muni meter, just by opening your license plate in and getting a little sheet of paper out. And the other is that with the muni meters, it just simply adds 15 minutes to the transaction.
So you pay for an hour, you get an.
I call it
additional
bonus 15.
Oh, you pay for an hour and you get an hour 15. Oh,
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And
no,
so
but we can get rid of it.
my proposal is that we eliminate the bonus 15, but we keep the free 15 because a lot of people love it. And I know Matt's got some comments about this, so.
Well, I did print out y'all a little graphs, but the numbers aren't on the graphs, but I think if you see the graphs, it'll make you think about it a little
It's
different.
surprisingly how frequently, like a lot of people
I've seen
actually
that graph.
use the free 15.
Yeah, people use it.
These are all graphs. I got the numbers on
I think
mine.
there's a small number of people that use it a lot.
I'll get that, Matt.
So the green is the 315. I'm sorry, I got one more. Oh. I'm sorry, I don't want to knock the camera over.
No, it's okay.
All right, my
So
bad.
the green is the free 15.
Okay.
So this is from April 22nd to May 6th. Yeah, the bottom, it was May 6th just starting, 'cause that's when I came up with the report. So if you look at the first bar on the left, we had that day in the black, we had 147 credit card transactions, 129 coin transactions, and 140 free 15s. Each day, I could pass this around. So from that time, we had 11596 transactions and free 15s at a total of 5,041 transactions. So 30% of our transactions per day are going to free 15s through the muni meters. Now, I know we give 2 free 15s a day, but I'm off the unit that I think the free 15 since Jen White had me in that video was a cancer to the department because it's wasting paper, it's wasting how many transactions per day? Because these would have been coin or credit card transactions if they're not.
Wait, the black is.
The blue is the free, well,
No, the
just give us the
green-
number, forget the
green is
red.
the free 15.
Oh, the green,
The green is the
315?
315.
All right, how many free 15s are we doing in a month?
I don't have a month, but I got within 2 weeks.
Estimate, or 2 weeks, how many in 2 weeks? We'll just.
2 weeks was 1,600.
1,600.
So why not?
transactions
Remember we
from the community.
ran this and it was like 1,000
And
transactions.
it's not in
a
the
year?
parking lots. That's only on street parking.
Old Road runs about
Wow.
130,000 transactions a year.
So it's 3,200, we're gonna say a month, so it could be like as many as 40,000.
Transactions through Flowbird
Yeah.
of 15.
So it could be 40,000 transactions for the free 15.
So
And that would be, and that's, by the way, that's costing us $160,000
Yes.
because we pay the transaction fee,
And,
don't we?
and when you count the free
we?
15, you mean that, the bonus one?
It's on the
Nobody's using it.
So there's no
we gotta pay for the
transactions,
license
it's just
plate
the
to get to the,
paper.
we gotta pay for G-Tech for the meter to get the license plate to the handhelds.
So there is some out-of-pocket cost for it.
Correct.
It's not 40 cents, but there is some out-of-pocket cost. Do we know how much it is? Do we have a guess?
No, I'm sorry, not just trying to think.
No, it's not.
I'm trying my hardest.
No, you knew that there was a cost. I
Yeah.
thought maybe you knew what it was. It. I mean, listen, I hate the free 15 for a variety of reasons, nothing to do even with the amount of money. It's just the fact is that it's just a recipe for people getting mad because they overstay the free 15, they get a ticket, then they complain. I was only out for 17 minutes. Why do we have a free 20? It's like, well, if we had a free 20, you would have been there 22 minutes and you would have still been complaining. There's a, so I don't love it for that reason. And also I just feel like, I would be, I know people like it. I know it'd be unpopular to get rid of it for the people that use it. Can we get a report on how many people use it?
I can give you a report on how much exactly it costs us.
How much it costs us and how many people use
That
it?
it really doesn't cost us that much.
Well, it costs us in lost revenue, it costs us. If we're assuming that people otherwise would pay to park.
And I guess when you did the analysis, or maybe you just did it for the price, and all these other villages, do they have a free 15?
I have no idea.
Because, I mean,
I know it's a community, we gotta work with the people. So instead of getting rid of the free 15 completely, you put 15-minute spaces like we have in front of the
Right.
village hall.
mhm,
I like
we
You
talked
put- you
about that.
implement those in different parts of the town that you know is heavy traffic. We're getting the cannabis shop across the street. How many people you think are gonna walk to the muni meter, then walk inside? You need a little spot where people are gonna be like, oh, I can run
In
in
and
right
out,
now.
in and
But it's
out.
already-
We have trouble patrolling the 15 minutes, don't we?
Not in front of the village hall.
Well, I mean. Why would we now?
Well, I'm saying, so you, like I said, you put them in specific locations. You put one.
You're not
at
talking
maybe
about,
the-
you're not talking about free 15, what a 15-minute meter.
You put, I mean, I would rather a 15-minute meter, but I know we have to work
Right.
with the
That
community.
one we can actually measure.
A 15-minute meter, absolutely, but if you just have 15-minute spots, if I'm walking down Broadway doing my route and I come back and this guy's still there, I've already.
Because we've been backing our way out of the free 15s precisely because they're hard to enforce.
The free 15.
If someone's parked in front of the village hall.
We got rid of the 10-minute give and goes. We got rid of the 10-minute give and goes. It's impossible to enforce
Well,
it.
they're in very obscure spots at the same time too. If we put them at specific corners where there's high traffic. There's reason why Broadway and Main Street are called premium parking in our parking system, because those spots are premium parking. So if you have a couple of spots that we know, hey, you know, you have staff on that checks it, those little 15-minute spots can have the turnover. Personally with me, put a red meter outside, you already know what time it is. But if you just say free 15-minute spot, you can get rid of the free 15 from the muni meters, but you still kept the free 15 to work with the people. Me,
Right.
my personal opinion, pop a red meter in there. That will get the high turnover and you can get rid of the free.
A red meter meaning they do what? They put a quarter or they don't?
Quarter in, it's 15 minutes.
15 minutes, yeah.
So it's not free.
It's like the one that.
That's why I said, my personal opinion, put a red meter there. But if you're trying to, you know, shake one hand with the other, you put these little 15-minute spots. We did it we lost, in the middle of town, I wrote this down. We lost we lost 32 spots, the 10 spots behind RP Way, those used to be ours. We lost the 15 spots in the Fresh Market lot, and we lost Cedar Street to the bus layover. You just took out the heart of town for
Yeah.
free.
Mhm.
You know, so a little 15-minute
So
spot
one's on
here,
RP where you mean the bus stop, where the bus stop is now?
where the bus layover, yeah, that was metered.
Oh, the bus layover, wait, you said RP twice, or?
Because the RP Way
Because it's
behind,
the behind.
the Fresh Market.
Yeah,
those
behind
spots
Fresh
are great.
Market, and then there's the
Where
one
they're
right in
supposed
front
to
of
be
Fresh
using-
Market.
Customers supposed to. be
Yeah,
using that,
customers,
but
right.
Employees do, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But regardless of the fact, we
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that the
Right.
supermarket worked.
Yeah.
That was the
No, that's
bigger
right,
focus.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the supermarket's doing well, leave well enough alone, just, okay, you got a free 15-minute spot. A good example of this is High Avenue right next to Russellville, all that is free, basically 15 or a loading zone, because the
Right.
signs are all jaggled up. But people know if they go in Russellville for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I'll notice if it's there for an hour, but if it's there for 15 minutes,
You're in and out.
you know, that's kind of what you're working with, just. I'd rather
Keep
be a
the
15
flow.
meter, my personal opinion, for the wealth of the department. I want to have a job. I like working here. It's an honor.
Also very measurable.
Yeah, yeah.
It's either expire or it isn't, you know, you don't have to go back 20 minutes later to see.
All right, thank you for that. All right, I think, can we agree that the free, we can talk about the free 15 as a separate entity? We're running out of time. We can talk about it again later. But the 15 minutes that people don't even know about, that they're
Right,
getting, we
just
can get rid of that. We get rid of
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Because no one even knows they're getting.
I'm always surprised when
Okay, so lastly, the other thing we can look at is. A few years ago, the board raised the basic fine, like if you don't pay the meter with $25. But you didn't touch many other frequent fines, for example, the 3 to 6 AM alternate side fine.
12 inches
Fire
from the curb,
hydrants,
12 inches from the curb.
12 inches, there's a number of fines which are not as common as the meter violation, but they come up fairly frequently. And so, since they haven't been touched for a long time, I proposed a fee schedule change, which added, $10 or so to about 12 different fines, which are kind of frequently found. Expired inspection sticker, expired registration sticker. More than 12 inches from the curb, alternate side 3 to 6. Ignoring a special event sign, parking in an official parking only spot, which I know that you guys see that pretty frequently because we try to park inside. The official parking one. This is a way that we can kind of update our fee schedule for violations. That's outside of the most common one, which is the meter violation. And so if you'd like, I can set up a resolution to adopt this amended fee schedule. It's hard to anticipate what the actual revenue difference it makes is. I just know that it makes a difference in a positive direction.
Well, let's study it, because I looked at it with you, but I don't know if everybody's had a chance to really think through it. But I do think, I'm more inclined to say I'd rather increase the fines for the late payment rather than the initial, so that people do have a chance to, we're not raising the fine on the violation, we're saying just, if you don't pay it in time, it's gonna be a little bit more money, like $10 more than it is now.
Yeah, some of these, like, for example. I'm sorry, I've been looking at an old version of this section. But some of them I had and raised the initial violation fee, and some I had keep that the same and raise the late payment fees. So there's kind of a mix in there.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant about, I mean. What's the frequency? We need to, I would like to know the frequency of some of these violations. I mean, for instance, I mean. Special event signposted. How often does that happen?
How many special events we have?
Yeah, there's many.
I mean,
A third of my tickets is inspections and registrations,
Yeah.
front plates.
A third.
Yeah, absolutely. Throughout today, yeah, probably periodically. Like inspections and registrations, that's besides meter, probably the most common.
Yeah.
Front plate too.
Front plate, what about the front plate?
The New York State
Missing a
vehicle,
front
well, you need that front plate fast enough from your view.
Well. What about for people who come from like, or if they're visiting from Pennsylvania or something?
That only New York State.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, let's.
yeah.
But I love that you
Violate
didn't
a
hit
lot of
everything.
these, so.
But you didn't hit everything. I'm glad that you picked and choose certain ones that you thought.
But these are the ones that Matt and Rosa said are the most frequently issued.
Okay, that was really good. So, I mean, 1, 2, 3.
I think I agree with Joe about not increasing the initial fine, but increasing late late fees. That makes more sense to me. If we do anything.
I agree. I mean, it doesn't sound like we have to make a decision now, so, but I'm generally in agreement, and not for my own self-interest, just in general. I don't think it's a good idea, but, I mean, I also want to think a little bit about the free 15 stuff too, because I do think that there is probably some wiggle room there.
Maybe to cut it down from 315 from twice a day to once a day.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I'd be curious, to see how many people take advantage of both.
It must be a record someplace.
Well,
I'm sure it's all kept, I'm sure it's all there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I do.
They keep their data. All right, anything else that we want to, so we'll look at this, we'll see what people, now that we've circulated, we can get a sense of it. By the way, this was very helpful.
It was.
Thank you for the,
I got one.
for knowing how heavy the free, because I had no idea the free 15 was basically getting as many free 15 transactions as we are meter transactions in a given day.
Mhm.
That's a lot.
No, it's less than that. It's like a third.
Well, oh, what,
It's more than the coins. It's the second largest.
Yeah, I was gonna say. it looks
Besides-
like-
so it's metered, I meant metered app, or metered, you know. I can't believe how many coin transactions we get.
I'll leave y'all.
Cash is king.
I can do this anytime.
I always.
Cash is king. I don't know what you want me to say.
This is the one with the numbers. I wrote it out as to each one was a credit card, which one was a free. I highlighted the free 15 number.
So the green is the 315.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I can show you in the computer in the office if y'all ever
Are
around.
you able to identify, with, 315, is they,
Andy.
how many,
They wouldn't be able
Is this
to, they
made
would be just
offenses
expired.
always?
They're just being expired meter because
They're not-
they tried to do it.
They're not
Okay.
here, so.
Got
the second time?
Okay.
Yes, after the second time, they would have to pay.
No, but before the second time, 1, 2, but can you tell how many people?
Please, that's your-
No, I cannot tell, no, I cannot, unless they leave it on their dashboard. But there is a digital way to check through, if you look through the transaction records, you can see what plate paid. You know, at what time or what time they got a free 15, or if they got another one, they're coming in twice a day and stuff like that. You can see that.
Oh, what's up, parking talk about
Just one last item for you guys.
Okay.
So the police had suggested stringing a chain across the walkway that divides our marina boat launch parking lot from the rest of the marina parking lot as a way of cutting down on people being in the boat launch area after the park is supposed to be closed. Because they do kick them out, they do issue citations, but people just come back.
Mhm.
It's kind of a cat and mouse. They propose that. I know there's pros and cons to this idea. I just want to run it by the board. It's pretty cheap to implement just as a trial.
And just to see how it goes, I love the
Run
idea
paint
of.
some signs.
I like the idea of trying it. I guess I'm also wondering, like, of our group of vigilantes that are already down there, what's stopping them from cutting the chain?
Well, hopefully they're not gonna do all that. Are there cameras around there?
We have cameras. too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they'll do that. I think that we should try something.
No, I
We've been
agree.
Complaining
Yes.
for years and we
Yes.
need to try
We need to
something.
try something.
And now it's the time of year that they'll
Yeah.
be doing this.
No, I agree.
It's a loss, though. People go down there for good reason. They go down there,
They
look at the
do.
water, they look at the bridge, they look at the moon,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they canoodle. Canoodling's okay.
It's good.
You need a place to canoodle when you're 18. Canoodles,
Okay.
it's been a while. It's been a while, but you
I
still
mean,
get,
I understand, I guess.
but I understand the idea that there is
Yeah,
a.
it's the fine line between.
But I would, I'm okay to trying it. I just feel like we have to recognize that we are losing something
Mhm.
by doing this.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether this would survive if we have a restaurant down there.
well, that was
Just one
a
of these
different
spaces.
thing.
But I think even with that, we talked about if there is a restaurant down there, that might actually change.
Might change the dynamics, yeah.
That noise.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a little bit more sanguine about it, because I think that if we get the
Yeah.
restaurant down there, it's gonna ameliorate the problem anyway,
Right.
and then we won't need the chain, but I don't mind
But
trying
we
the
don't
chain.
And I'd
have a
rather-
restaurant right now.
Right, and I-
People
yeah, I'd rather
have
do
been
the-
coming to
yeah.
us for years.
Mhm.
And their quality of life has been
It's going
disrupted
down, yeah.
because of
For
the.
all we know, it may push the knuckleheads out closer to Claremont, so.
Right, that's also.
That won't necessarily be good,
That
but
might, but on the other hand, with all this gate, the sign and heightened enforcement, maybe the word will get out. Come to Nyack, but don't hang out and, in the parking lot and disrupt the
I mean,
lives of the.
I'm more thinking that it's more easily accessible for OPD. It's well lit and when Spear Street and everything is available, there's less room down there because people are parking for them to.
There's
You know,
decal, we have all the
do
decal
donuts
parking,
and stuff,
yeah,
but,
all the permit parking.
I mean, at this point, I think I'm willing to try just about anything for those neighbors down there, so, yeah,
It's a try.
it's a try, yeah.
My goal is to have the police agree to put it up and take it down,
Mhm.
I think that's fair.
because they're at 10, they often, I just want to, instead of trying to get Matt to run down there at 7 in the morning.
No.
Yeah, no,
I'll take it down, I'll take it down, I walk my
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah,
You know what's up, 4:30.
yeah.
that's perfect. And we just have a combo on it, so if you're
Should
fisherman and you're in there late at night, they.
You can have a little official job, I am down there early.
Oh,
They can
yeah,
get it now.
yeah.
It'll be imperfect, but it's.
I will try it.
It's fun trying it, yeah.
Make it a thicker lock though, because she's right, they're gonna. Gotta cut it.
Yeah, when it's, I mean, I'm not to disparage anybody, it just if the neighbors are constantly having the same problem.
All right, we done with barking?
Yes.
All right,
We need to-
I don't think we table some motion during the public,
Who
parking
is usually the
authority.
one who?
So moved, adjourned, motion passed. We've now adjourned the parking authority meeting. We're still on TV, right? Do you want to stop this session so the parking authority is in a separate?
No.
No, you should do a separate session for the parking authority, just close it and open up again.
Take a 2-minute.
Let's take a 2-minute break, we'll be right back.
You're good,
Thank you,
right? You're
Matt.
done with everything.
And Kyle, do you have to be around? You don't have to be around for anything. Sorry, Kyle's gonna go. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Well done.
For coming.
Yeah, you should, so it's 2 different entries in the YouTube. Because people might actually wanna watch the parking thing.
Not watch the village board meeting?
I don't think they wanna watch either. I'm just saying, if you're gonna watch, it's better to have one 1 hour and one 2 hour
Thank you
meeting
very much.
than one 3 hour meeting.
I think
Oh my God. You're saying you're gonna be on here.
I don't think, I don't.
Listen, let me-
I can never tell on.
Natalie.
We don't have a huge agenda, so it's not. that.
I